All right. Hey there, Pink Sox. Coach Charles here. I hope you're getting ready to enjoy spring break, get some time off from school. Uh, I'm sorry we got rained out for our first doubleheader. That was a bummer. That was rough. They made the decision early in the morning, and the way it works is once they make the decision on the field, they don't do a reevaluation typically. So they had some morning games that were going on at 9 o'clock, so they had to make sure that they gave the team that was coming from out of county enough time to get here. They wanted to be on the road before they canceled, so they made a decision really early in the morning, and by like 7:05, they determined that from the rain we had overnight Friday, just wrecked the fields too much that it wouldn't be good for the morning games, and then they decided they're just not going to reevaluate. So that's why we got canceled, even though it wound up being a nice day. So that was definitely a bummer. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. As you know, we have practice tomorrow night, a Wednesday night. I was able to get the field that we got last Wednesday night because, surprise, surprise, it's supposed to rain really badly this coming Friday. So we're probably not going to have practice this Friday. I'm keeping an eye on that, but it looks like a really nasty system coming through. So we're probably going to have to, just have the Wednesday practice. But if it clears up, we'll have two practices. Let's hope, right? For right now, we don't have any games this coming weekend. Our next game, which will be our first game, second game, is going to be on the 27th. We're going to be at the same field we're supposed to be at Johnson's Local Park in Gaithersburg. So hopefully the weather stays good that weekend and we could actually finally have our first game and put it all together. Today, what I'm going to talk about are two quick topics just about fielding. We're going to talk about one about fielding, one about base running. They're both really quick, but both very important. First one, fielding, we're going to talk about the purpose of the cutoff person. The reason we have a cutoff person is because sometimes a throw is just too far to make if a ball is hit into the outfield and you're trying to get it in. What you want to do in order to stop a play is the pitcher has to have the ball and be in the pitcher's circle. All right, so if we're just throwing the ball back and forth, they're allowed to be running. As soon as the pitcher has the ball and is standing in the circle, that means the play is stopped. That means that the runner is not allowed to advance any further. That means that there's nothing else that can happen on the play. It's a dead ball, and the next batter comes to the plate. So we want to, if we can't make a play, if we're trying to get someone out at second or third or first or wherever and stuff like that, or the ball gets hit into the outfield, we have no more play to make, get it to the pitcher, and this way it stops right there. That maybe that girl got a single, she's at first base. If the pitcher has it and she wasn't making any attempt to go to second base, now she can't make any attempt. But to do that, we have to back one another up. Now, at that last practice we had last week, I was really proud of you girls, the way you started backing people up. We worked on doing a shortstop, second base, first base drill, because those are going to be the bases that are going to have the most action. And we learned about how when shortstop is fielding the ball, second base goes over to cover. When second base goes over, fields the ball, shortstop goes over the cover. If you're throwing to first base and the ball gets past first base, that's where the right fielder comes in to back up first base. At second base or at shortstop, whoever's fielding the ball, whichever direction the ball is coming in, that's where your left center fielder and your right center fielder are there to back it up. Same thing throwing into the pitcher. You're throwing into the pitcher, the catcher should be there behind the pitcher to back her up just in case it gets away. So what we're going to talk about real briefly with fielding is the concept of the cutoff man. All right. Now here's our field layout like it is. Now if the ball is hit and it's out here and either the right center fielder or the right fielder are fielding it, it might be really far throw to throw it to the pitcher. So if the ball is hit, it's a very simple concept, all right? If the ball is hit to the right side, the cutoff person is the second baseman, all right? The ball's been hit into the outfield, second base, unless you're covering a base, unless there's going to be a play at second base, be here to receive the throw. So the ball goes from here to here to here. It's like a relay race. That's what we call it, the relay throw. You think of it like if you ever watched the Olympics or any sort of track event and they have those batons and they pass it to one another. That's the concept here. The ball is hit out here. The right fielder or the right center fielder gets the ball, throws it into the field. It goes to the second base and then goes to the pitcher. That stops the play. Now, what happens if it's on the other side? It's pretty easy to guess, right? If it gets over here, the cutoff person is shortstop. know who your cutoff is. Before you take the field, you're going to have the whole layout of what we're going to be doing, where you're going to be positioned during the game. So you'll know each inning, hey, I'm playing first base this inning, I'm playing shortstop this inning. When you do that, make a note of who your fielding partners are going to be, who you're going to be interacting with the most, so that you can call out their name just to get their attention, so that if you're playing second base, know who your shortstop is. So if the ball is hit to you, you can yell out like, hey, Fiona, cover second base for me if Fiona's playing shortstop and run over. Or if you're out here in left field and you need to throw to the cutoff person, just scream out, like, hey, Gabby, coming at you, cutoff. This way, Gabby is aware that there's a throw coming to her from the outfield that she'll field, and then when she gets it, she's the next chain in the relay. She catches it, throws it to the pitcher, and we stop the play there. That's the basic concept of the cutoff man. It's enabling you to get the ball in more quickly and without having to worry about you having that pressure being really deep into the outfield if a ball is hit far and trying to make that throw all the way across. Sometimes you'll do it to throw to a base. Sometimes you might have someone run, the ball is hit out here in right field and there's a runner at third base and maybe she's trying to score. That throw from here to here is really far. But if you throw from here to the second baseman and then the second baseman throws it to home plate, you've just cut the distance and it makes it easier. It also makes your throw probably more accurate because at this stage, a lot of us don't have the power to reach that far. But if you cut that distance in half, you get a stronger, more accurate throw, and then that person just does the same thing, throwing down to here. It's a lot easier for the person that's here to throw to here than it is for the person that fields the ball back here, okay? Now the next thing we're going to talk about is called tagging up. Tagging up we don't really see as often at this stage. I can say that in the first 2 seasons I coached, I barely saw it. But the concept of tagging up is important because if you don't tag up properly on the base path when you're running, it can cost you an out. What is tagging up? All right, that's the question. When you're on base and the ball is hit on the ground, if you're here at first base and the ball is hit on the ground, well, you've got no choice. You've got to go over here towards second base. All right, because remember we talked about force plays. All right. You're here, you have to go here because the batter who just hit the ball has to go to first base, right? You can't have 2 people occupying the same base at the same time. So you have to go here. But now, if the ball is hit and it's in the air, now you have to be careful. You can't just take off running because if that ball is caught in the air, it means even if it's in foul territory, if it hasn't hit the ground yet, even if it bounces off another person, and gets caught, it bounces off you and you catch it, as long as that ball doesn't hit the ground and it lands in the glove and you have possession of it, that's an out. The batter who hit that is automatically out. You don't need to throw to a base, you don't need to field anything, that's an automatic out. But what that means is that the runners, if the runner takes off and the ball, let's say the ball is popped up out here to right center, if this runner takes off, even if she makes it all the way to second base, before that ball is caught, she has to go back to first base. All right? If they don't get back to first base in time, this right center fielder can throw the ball to first base, and all they have to do is step on the bag. It becomes a force. So what a tagging means is that if the ball is hit in the air and it might be caught, you lead off the base a little bit, you keep your eye on where the ball is. If the ball is caught, run back to your base. Maybe if the ball is hit deep enough, you may be able to advance to the next base. You can do that, but you have to tag the base that you started at first. If you just take off and start running the bases and they caught the ball in midair, all they have to do is tag you if you're right by them or tag that base and it's an automatic out. So it's really important to be paying attention when you're doing base running like that because you don't want to turn what's just a regular out into 2 outs, all right? You also want to be aware of it as a fielder, so you're watching the other team. So if they make that mistake, you can capitalize it and tag the runner out. A lot of times when you see tagging is with runners at third base. that's most often the time you're going to see tagging. It runners at third and second base, not usually at first base. Because if a ball is hit to, let's say, right here, and there's someone standing here at second base, they'll watch, see if the ball is hit, then they'll be off the bag, it's in the air, they come back, they step on the bag, and then they're allowed to take off. They can't take off until the person already has the possession of the ball, okay? They can't take off while it's almost there. They have to have the ball. So that's what tagging up is. So you'll see that a lot. And if they do go for the run, then you've got to try and throw to that base, and it becomes a tag play at that. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is. Basic premise is if you are on the base path and the ball is hit and it's caught in the air, go back to your base. Look for the coaches to tell you it's okay to run to the next base. All right, we'll be there to guide you through that. After it happens a couple of times, if it does, you'll get more used to it. If you're fielding and you catch the ball in the air, make sure you have the ball, and then watch for us. We may be telling you, hey, throw it to first. She never tagged, she never, tagged back. She just took off. Don't necessarily automatically start going for where the runner is. We might be telling you, hey, she never tagged up. Go get to that base. Sometimes it'll happen where you'll catch the ball right here, just on the outside, just on the outfield grass, and you'll be able to maybe run in and tag the base if they didn't tag up. All right, so you want to pay attention. It's smart base running can be the difference between a run or an out. All right, these are basic concepts. We'll go over them in practice some more. Cutoff person, very simple. You're basically cutting off the throw to make it easier, to make it so that's a harder throw. Because remember, throws lose velocity, they lose speed as they go forward. So you can keep this, imagine that first 30 feet of your throw is super powerful. Maybe the last 30 it starts tailing off. Well, now you're combining your first 30 with her first 30, so it's nonstop hard throw. That's the concept of the cutoff person. So when you're out there in the field, if you're playing right field or right center, know who your first base and second basemen are. This way you can get used to being, okay, I've got the ball, I'm going to throw to you. It doesn't always have to be the second baseman, all right? That's usually who it's going to be. But sometimes maybe second base has to, go and cover the base. So pitcher, don't be afraid to move up. Ladies, you're not rooted to your position, all right? If the ball is hit here, you don't want to be the third baseman and run all the way across the diamond to get it, all right? But when the ball is being thrown, try to make sure that you see what's happening and be able to move and adjust accordingly. Make sure the bases are covered and that you're backing one another up. You guys are doing a really good job of that. Years back, Derek Jeter was playing shortstop for the Yankees, and a ball was thrown, and it went all the way on the right side of the field in between the first baseman and the catcher. But Derek Jeter saw where the throw was going. He ran, fielded the ball, caught it, and flipped it to the catcher, who then tagged the lead runner for the Oakland Athletics. It was Jeremy Giambi. Giambi wasn't sliding because he figured he was going to be safe. It was a 1-0 game. This would have tied the game in the 8th inning. But Jorge Posada was the catcher for the Yankees. He caught the ball, he applied the tag, and it wound up being the 3rd out. And it wouldn't have happened, and the Yankees might not have won the game, or might not have won that series, actually, because that was a do-or-die game for the Yanks. They might not have been able to advance to the next round had Derek Jeter not realized that throw was going so far offline, and he saw where everybody was. He saw everyone was in position to cover bases. So he ran all the way from shortstop, all the way across the diamonds, and backed up the catcher somehow, and was able to get it and flip it to the catcher, who then applied the tag. That sort of thing could be a big difference in these games. All right, we'll go over this in practice. I'll see some of you tomorrow night. I know some of you are on vacation. I hope you're having a safe and fun time on vacation. I hope it's dry where you are, wherever it is. And those of you who won't be here this week, hope I see you next week, and that we have some clear weather for regular Friday practice and finally our first games. All right, any questions? You know where to find me. All right, let's go Sox.